40 consecutive days of rain. 40. And it is not over yet. Right now, another band of heavy rain is barreling towards southwest England, and what comes after it later this week could catch millions of you completely off guard. We are talking about a dramatic temperature crash, the kind that turns standing water into black ice overnight. But here is the thing most forecasters are not telling you. There is a very specific window, a 48-hour period, where conditions flip from relentless rain to something far more dangerous. I am going to give you the exact timing for every major city across the United Kingdom, so you know precisely when this hits your doorstep. And if you stay with me to around the 5-minute mark, I will reveal what the models are showing for late February, because there is a pattern emerging that we have not seen play out like this in years. First, let me give you the reward you deserve for clicking on this video. Here is your cheat sheet for this week. Tuesday and Wednesday, more heavy rain, especially eastern Scotland and southwest England. Thursday, the transition begins, cold air starts pushing south. Friday through Sunday, temperatures plummet. We are talking 2 to 3 degrees Celsius for highs in many areas. Saturday morning could see the harshest frost of the entire winter so far, and then a twist. By Monday and Tuesday of next week, milder air fights back from the south, but only for some of you. Northern areas, you could be stuck in the freezer for much longer. Now let me break all of this down city by city, hour by hour. Let us start with what is happening right now. A deep area of low pressure is feeding moisture up from the south, and it is not going anywhere fast. A Scandinavian cold block, essentially a wall of high pressure sitting over northern Europe, is acting like a dam. It is trapping these rain bands, forcing them to stall over the same areas that have already been hammered for weeks. Think of it like a conveyor belt that someone forgot to switch off. The rain just keeps coming, circling back, dumping again. So where exactly is it hitting hardest today and tomorrow? London and the southeast. You are actually in one of the drier slots today, relatively speaking. Some cloud, some drizzle, but nothing like what the west is getting. Temperatures around 10 to 11 degrees Celsius. Enjoy it while it lasts, because by Thursday evening you will be reaching for the heavy coat. Highs will drop to 5 or 6 degrees by Friday, and Saturday morning could see temperatures close to -1 or -2. Bristol and southwest England. You are in the firing line right now. A new band of heavy rain is moving in from the Atlantic this morning, and it reaches you by lunchtime. 15 to 25 millimeters expected through Tuesday alone, with the ground already completely saturated after weeks of rain. Surface water flooding is a real risk. Temperatures sit around 12 degrees today, feeling raw in that gusty southwest wind. But do not be fooled by the mildness. By Friday, you are looking at 3 to 4 degrees at best. Cardiff and South Wales. Very similar story to Bristol. You are under a Met Office rain warning right now. The rain arrives mid-morning Tuesday, becomes persistent through the afternoon, and does not really ease until late evening, another 20 to 30 millimeters on top of what has already fallen. Rivers here are already running high. If you live near a floodplain, please keep checking your local flood alerts. The cold arrives Thursday night into Friday, with highs dropping to 4 degrees and a sharp frost Saturday morning, Birmingham and the Midlands. You sit in an interesting zone. The East Midlands and East Anglia actually get a bit of a break today, sitting between weather systems. But do not get too comfortable. Showers push in from the southwest through Tuesday evening, and Wednesday looks thoroughly damp. Temperatures hover around 9 to 10 degrees midweek before that cold plunge drags them down to 4 or 5 by Friday afternoon. Manchester and northwest England. You get some gaps between the rain bands today, which is the closest thing to good news we have had in weeks. But persistent damp weather returns Wednesday, temperatures midweek around 8 to 9 degrees. The cold air arrives Friday morning. Expect highs of just 3 to 4 degrees through the weekend, with a hard frost Saturday and Sunday mornings. Now here is where it gets really serious, and please do not skip this part if you are in Scotland. Edinburgh and eastern Scotland, you are under a Met Office amber level rain warning from 9 in the morning Tuesday right through to midnight. Persistent and heavy rain is expected. We are talking 40 to 60 millimeters in some spots. That is on top of what has already been an extraordinarily wet few weeks. The same area gets hit again on Wednesday with another 20 to 30 millimeters. But here is the twist that makes this dangerous. By Wednesday evening, the wind shifts to a more easterly direction, and that brings colder air off the North Sea. Above 300 to 400 meters, that rain starts turning to snow, 5 to 10 centimeters possible on higher ground by Thursday morning. At lower levels, it stays as rain, but temperatures start dropping fast. By Friday, Edinburgh could see highs of just 1 to 2 degrees. Saturday morning, a severe frost, possibly -3 or -4. And with all that water lying around from weeks of rain, ice becomes a major hazard. Glasgow and Western Scotland, you actually get the better deal this week compared to the east. Drier and brighter spells, especially Wednesday. But the cold hits you just as hard. Friday into Saturday, temperatures struggle to reach 2 or 3 degrees. The new snow depth models are showing accumulations on higher ground, and even lower levels could see a dusting of wintry showers through Friday and Saturday, Belfast and Northern Ireland. Damp weather continues through Tuesday and Wednesday. Nothing extreme, but just that relentless, drizzly rain that wears you down. The southern half of Northern Ireland sees the worst of it. The cold front pushes through Thursday night. Friday and Saturday, expect highs of around 3 to 4 degrees, with some wintry showers possible, mainly on higher ground. Sunday morning could bring a sharp frost across the province. Leeds, Sheffield, and Yorkshire. You are caught in that middle ground between the worst of the Scottish rain and the drier southeast. Expect a damp Tuesday and Wednesday with around 10 to 15 millimeters of rain. Nothing catastrophic, but the ground is already struggling to absorb anything more. The cold air arrives for you Thursday evening. By Friday morning, you will wake up to a completely different feel. Highs of just 3 to 4 degrees, biting northeasterly winds making it feel closer to zero. Saturday morning frost could be severe across the Pennines, with temperatures dropping to -3 in exposed valleys. Newcastle in the northeast. Here is a detail a lot of people will miss. As that wind shifts easterly on Tuesday and Wednesday, you pick up extra moisture off the North Sea. This is what meteorologists call relief rainfall, and it can be surprisingly heavy. Expect persistent rain and low cloud through midweek. Visibility could be poor along the coast. Then the cold arrives with a vengeance on Thursday. The northeast is one of the first areas in England to feel the full force. Highs by Friday just 2 to 3 degrees. Wind chill making it feel well below freezing. If you commute along the A1 or the A69, plan for difficult conditions Friday and Saturday mornings. Norwich and East Anglia. Interestingly, you are one of the driest spots in the country on Tuesday. Sitting in a gap between weather systems, you might even see some brightness. Make the most of it. Wednesday brings more cloud and patchy rain. The cold air sweeps in from the east Thursday night, and because you are exposed to continental air masses, your temperatures drop fast. Highs of 4 to 5 degrees Friday, but the wind chill off the North Sea makes it feel brutal. Frost risk is high Saturday and Sunday mornings. Now, I promised you the exact timing of when this cold snap hits, so here it is. Write this down if you need to. The transition begins Thursday. For northern Scotland, cold air starts arriving Thursday morning. You will feel it in the wind first, a bitter edge coming from the north and northeast. For central and northern England, the cold pushes through Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening. For southern England and Wales, Thursday night into Friday morning. Friday is when the full force of the cold arrives everywhere. The coldest day across most of the United Kingdom will be Saturday. We are looking at highs of just 2 to 3 degrees Celsius across Scotland and northern England, 4 to 5 degrees further south. But it is the overnight temperatures that really bite. -2 to -4 is very possible Saturday morning, even in urban areas. And with all that standing water from weeks of rain, widespread ice is almost certain. Do not skip ahead yet, because here is the part I promised you at the 5-minute mark. What happens after the cold snap? And this is where it gets genuinely fascinating. The models are showing something that meteorologists call a pattern change. That Scandinavian blocking high pressure that has been trapping rain over the United Kingdom for weeks. It is finally breaking down. The jet stream is going to shift, tracking further north and becoming more amplified. Now, you might think that sounds like good news, and in one way it is. Rain systems will move through faster. No more of that agonizing, slow-moving, day-after-day, persistent rain sitting over the same areas. But here is the catch, and this is the plot twist that could define the second half of February. The jet stream is also tracking unusually far south. That allows pulses of Arctic air to keep diving down towards the United Kingdom. What the models are showing is a real battle between mild Atlantic air pushing up from the south and very cold Arctic air plunging down from the north. When those two air masses collide, that is when you get the most dramatic weather. Heavy rain in the south, snow in the north, and right along the boundary, a real mix of everything. The GFS model, which is one of the main global forecast models, is actually showing a significant northerly plunge towards late February. We are talking about upper air temperatures dropping to -8 to -10 degrees Celsius aloft. That is cold enough to deliver widespread snow, even to lower levels in northern areas. Now, this is still 10 to 14 days out, so there is uncertainty. But multiple models are consolidating on this idea of a cold, unsettled second half of February with a real north-south split. Milder, but still below average in the south. Genuinely cold and wintry in the north. For context, this type of pattern is not unusual for late winter into early spring. As the stratospheric polar vortex starts to weaken, it allows cold air to break free and push southward. It happens most years to some degree. But what makes this year different is the sheer amount of water already on the ground. When you combine heavy rainfall, saturated soil, swollen rivers, and then add a hard freeze on top, the potential for disruption is significant. Ice on roads, frozen pipes, and if the snow does materialize in the north, travel chaos on top of everything else. Here is what I want you to do right now. Drop a comment below telling me where you are watching from. Not just because I want to hear from you, but because in my next video, I am going to give hyperlocal forecasts for the areas you tell me about. If enough of you from a particular region comment, I will do a dedicated deep dive into what is coming for your area specifically. Your comment genuinely shapes what I cover next. Let me recap the key dates one more time so you have them locked in. Tuesday the 10th and Wednesday the 11th, heavy rain continues, especially eastern Scotland and southwest England. Keep checking flood warnings. Thursday the 12th, the transition day. Cold air begins pushing south. Rain turns to snow above 300 to 400 meters in Scotland. Friday the 13th through Sunday the 15th, the cold snap peaks. Highs of 2 to 5 degrees across most of the country. Harsh frost overnight. Widespread ice risk, especially Saturday morning. Wintry showers mainly in the north, but some could push further south. Monday the 16th into Tuesday the 17th, milder air tries to return from the southwest, but northern areas may stay locked in the cold. And beyond that, this is what I will be tracking very closely. The models are hinting at another cold plunge in the final week of February. If that verifies, we could be looking at one of the more notable late winter cold spells in recent years. I will have the full breakdown in my next video, including whether the snow threat is real for areas further south or whether it stays confined to Scotland and the north. One more thing before you go. If you have elderly neighbours or family members, now is the time to check in with them. A sudden swing from 12 degrees to 2 degrees catches people out. Make sure they know the cold is coming, make sure they have what they need, and make sure paths and doorsteps are gritted once the frost sets in. It takes 30 seconds and it could make all the difference. Right, that is everything for today. But before I go, let me leave you with this thought. We have just lived through one of the wettest spells in recent memory. 40 days of near continuous rain in some parts of the country. And now, within the space of 72 hours, we are swinging from double-digit temperatures to barely scraping above freezing. That is a massive shock to the system, not just for us, but for infrastructure, for roads, for pipes, for everything. Prepare now while conditions are still mild. Stock up on de-icer, check your heating, and keep an eye on those local flood warnings because the water has to go somewhere before it freezes. The next video will cover the late February pattern in detail, and I have a feeling it is going to be one you will not want to miss. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss it, and I will